have to go kind of fast because there's a lot to go over. But space debris, when dust becomes a wrecking ball. So hard. Okay, consider this. We're going to start off with a thought experiment. Consider a paint-sized, piece of space debris, and it's kind of harmless. I mean, it's just like this big. It's like the size of your thumb. Now, when it's hurling around Earth at orbital speeds, which is 45,000 miles per hour, it does some damage. This is a picture of, this is like a window on the ISS, and it was like smashed. So now think of a softball-sized piece of debris. What do you think a picture of that's going to look like? It's for you to decide. So space debris should be taken much more seriously. But to answer why, first we need to go over what even is space debris. Well, space debris is just pieces of, it's payloads, rocket bodies, operational debris, or anything just kind of hits itself in orbit. And it gets made when there are just two objects orbiting space and they hit each other. It's pretty self-explanatory. And it started with Sputnik in 1957 when the Russians launched their rocket. That's the first time space debris was created, and so it just started growing from there. So what makes it so dangerous? Well, that's why. This is a block of like solid metal, and it was like, it's hard to see, but this is a huge crater from space debris the size of a pencil eraser. This is from a pencil eraser. This is the Canadarm on the ISS. I don't know if you can see that. But it was still operational. But this is really bad because it doesn't just affect like satellites. It affects everyone because the ISS is a really important piece of space, research, and so they're already thinking of deorbiting it, partly because of space debris. It also falls down to Earth. A huge engine fell through this roof. There's another time when a piece of space debris hit this kid. It literally fell in a home and hit someone, and it was a Chinese piece of debris, and in their infinite generosity, they paid them $48. And here's the answer for the softball. It's a bomb. So a softball-sized piece of debris will literally be a bomb blowing up inside a spacecraft. What's even crazier is that these tiny things, which is 3 millimeters, is a bullet. These are all bullets. Let me just move on here. So the pieces of space debris in orbit. You have 160 million pieces of space debris in orbit. How many are tracked? How many do we know of? 30,000. So these are all invisible except for 30,000 of them. So they're just flying around. We don't know what's happening with those. And so some people may say that, yes, chances are very low of getting hit, and so is the damage. This is usually what's going to happen if you get hit by space debris. And it rarely ever happens, and once it does, this is what happens. But what they're missing is that space debris is growing. There's more and more space debris every year, and there's something called the Kessler syndrome, where when one piece of space debris hits another, they fragment into two, and then they hit two more pieces, fragments into four, and so we can literally block ourselves out from space, which is a little scary. Let's move on here. So what are governments doing about it? If it's so dangerous, what are they doing? Very little. This is the European Space Agency, ESA. They're happy that they signed a piece of paper that said space debris exists and it's not good. That's all they've done. In fact, the first fine over space debris was issued in 2023, so last year. That's all they've done. They've done fines and they said that it exists. That's all. So this is NASA when you mention space debris. They don't care. Some solutions. This is like Kessler syndrome. See, like 50 years ago when I went to space, there actually was space. So we have three solutions. We have a lazy, expensive, and a realistic solution. The lazy solution is wrapping Kevlar around like rockets, and so clearly it doesn't really work because there's a hole in this. This was wrapped around a rocket body, and so this is very reactive. It's not proactive at all. We're not actually doing anything about the problem. We're just protecting our spacecraft. And still, you're not going to do anything when a bomb explodes on your spacecraft. You can't do anything about that. The expensive solution is to actually catch spacecraft, catch debris and deorbit it and burn it up in the atmosphere. This is really good, except for the fact that it's super expensive and it's a really complex procedure. You're docking with something that you might not even be able to track, and you're bringing down not only the space debris, but also the thing that went up. So you're wasting so much money. So that best solution is deorbiting the debris itself. So they're equipped with rocket engines, and so when something becomes slightly damaged or when they're going to retire it, which is, they usually know when they're going to retire a satellite, they just turn on the engine, they burn it, and then it burns in the atmosphere, and that's it, and it's gone. So right now, there's very limited implementation of these solutions, you know, these governments, they're kind of, it's sporadic. So there's no actual set solution. So, let's move on here. So what can we do? We have these, you know, dazzling visions of a thriving space age. This is all obviously mock-ups, they don't exist. But like, we can have this, it can be really cool. The biggest thing stopping us though is space debris. As citizens, we hold the power to influence this future. We can choose leaders who support forward-thinking space policies, and we can ensure that our forward progress is not derailed by something like space debris. This way we can focus on building a cleaner, safer orbit, letting humanity continue to look beyond the stars with confidence and hope. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, so I'm going to ask Ben a question, and then if you guys have any questions about his presentation, then you can ask too. Okay, so when they decommission something or whatever and it just burns up in space, does that happen with everything that enters? Not everything, because
So,
obviously the astronauts do
Yeah,
that.
they do it in a controlled way. The most important thing is control. So usually things that end up becoming space debris, they deorbit themselves, but it's uncontrolled, so they hit a bunch of rockets on their way down, and when they do come down, they don't burn fully and they hit people and homes. So
Are they doing any of this now, or is this just
they
a
are.
partial
It's
solution?
definitely like they're. I think like some Swiss space agency, they have some rockets, but again, there's no like actual codes. There's nothing.
Okay.
There's very little. I forgot the word, but
Regulation.
accountability. There's no accountability
Okay,
for
good.
space debris.
Anybody have any questions for Ben about this?
So we all know exactly what space debris is.
Yeah, which is
They
pretty
do.
interesting. Good.